Hey everybody, it's Cullen from 3Diligent, the 3D printing partner for every business, giving you a quick video blog on the news of the day, which is that GE has backed off its offer to buy SLM Solutions. Instead, they're going to buy Concept Laser. It's one of its key competitors. And then secondly, that they're bumping up their offer to buy Swedish Arcam, which is the world's leader in electron beam melting powder bed systems. So, what do we make of this? Well, there are a handful of takeaways. We'll start in the laser melting news. So, with respect to this laser melting news, I think the big takeaway is that GE is absolutely committed to having a laser melting manufacturer in its fold. It messaged to the market that they had designs on printing thousands and thousands of metal 3D printed parts for end-use production. And as a result of that, we're going to be on the hook to buy a whole bunch of machines to support that. The math penciled out that they should buy a manufacturer rather than buy machines from manufacturers. And basically what happened with SLM Solutions, where they started, was that it had 20% ownership with Elliott Management, a hedge fund that said the amount of value we're providing, frankly, it should be more than you're paying. So we're going to hold out for more money. GE basically said we're not going to be green-mailed. We are going to purchase somebody down the street, Concept Laser, another German company doing laser powder bed fusion. So we have reaffirmed, I think, the big takeaway: GE is going to be a player in the laser melting market. Their purchase of Concept Laser, with it being a privately held company, is something that I think is a little more likely to go through rather than something that's publicly held and folks can buy up a whole bunch of shares to try and play this game. The second big takeaway here is as it relates to the electron beam melting market. Really interesting to see GE bump up its offer for Arcam, which incidentally Elliott Management has a 10% stake in as well. With Arcam, it really is the preeminent player in the electron beam melting market, which means that if GE wants this technology in its portfolio, it does not have the option to run along to the next guy who offers it. There are some key patent expirations that take place for Arcam next year, so you can anticipate there being competition in the not too distant future that GE could consider, or they could try and build their own unit. But in the meantime, it's kind of an interesting game of chicken that's taking place where, frankly, I would argue the Arcam shareholders have a little bit more leverage than SLM Solutions did, in the sense that there isn't a ready alternative to Arcam if GE wants this technology. It'll be very interesting to watch. The last area that I want to talk about are some of the traditional plastic and resin players. So the big names there being 3D Systems and Stratasys traditionally, although EnvisionTEC, HP, you've been hearing a bit about Carbon recently. Not all those obviously publicly traded. But what are the implications for them of this deal? Well, I would argue not a whole lot. The news that has been unveiled here in the last 24 hours is all around the metal market, and really none of those players have meaningful metal exposure, with the only potential exception being 3D Systems. They do have metal printers in the fold, but any kind of impact to 3D Systems that was going to take place as a function of GE buying Concept is basically the same impact that was going to be taking place had they bought SLM Solutions. So at least from a stock standpoint, I don't see this having a meaningful impact on those companies. It doesn't signal to me that GE is necessarily going on a buying spree and anxious to play in the plastics and resins market, which frankly is already a little bit more crowded and which already saw a major multinational corporation, HP, push into very recently. So that's my set of hot takes on the news of the day. Hopefully you found it useful. I think the biggest takeaway I would mention is every single one of the technologies that I've mentioned in today's blog are technologies that we print in at 3Diligent. If you are interested and utilize some of these techs, visit us at 3diligent.com. You can learn more. You can submit an RFQ and we can get you some great parts printed. We look forward to working with you soon.